Okay, back with Jeff Smith, and Mr. Smith, boy, I'll tell you, over the years, we have had a number of people on this program who would make absolutely magnificent national leading figures. I'm not going to say political figures, national leading figures in government. True Americans representing the best interests of humankind and our country. Jeff would be one of the absolute top 10 on my list. And if we could only get some good people in there, but we all know the game. Ultimately, it's not a pretty picture, and many nice, fine, decent, intelligent, often brilliant people say, no thank you, not anymore. And I can't blame them.
It's such a sorry state in Washington in politics right now. Oh. It's like you can't get anything done. You're just
no, it's bad. Unless you're a sexual deviant or something.
Well, then you have a lot more larger.
That's right. Okay, go ahead.
In India, there are some stories of some young children dying in the cotton fields that are engineered to create BT toxins.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know for sure the cause of the death. I'm reading one story here where one child died after congestion and respiratory problems. Now, here is a huge red flag. The BT toxin that's produced by the cotton, and we've discussed this before, but let's try and be detectives here to see, is it possible that they're dying from the cotton itself? Is it even possible? The cotton plant produces a toxic pesticide that kills insects. In its natural form, it's used even in organic agriculture, sprayed by planes. It's considered safe, but it turns out it's not. Hundreds of people in North America got allergic reactions, rashes, etc. Some had to go to the emergency room when it was sprayed by plane for gypsy moth infestation in Washington State and Vancouver. Now in India, thousands of farm workers are getting the same type of allergic reactions, rashes all over their bodies, upper respiratory conditions, from touching the cotton plant. Now this also reminded me of a cornfield in the Philippines, where when it started to pollinate, it appeared to give off this very strong smell, which is not common. And so people woke up that morning and they volunteered one of their members to go in. He said he went in there and his face swelled up and his throat started to choke. He was essentially dying from what appeared to be an anaphylactic shock, and he got out of there. But virtually the entire village suffered from some mysterious symptoms, and starting from the people living closest to the cornfield and further away. The same corn seeds were planted in 4 more villages the following year, and the same symptoms returned in those villages during the time of pollination. So we have a history of BT, and also when BT toxin is fed to mice, they have an immune response as powerful as cholera toxin. When BT corn is fed to mice, they get an immune response. And so here we have a toxin that might be is probably creating allergic responses. It also is responsible for the deaths of thousands of sheep and buffalo when they eat the BT cotton plants. Not the natural cotton plants, but the BT cotton plants.
Well, I think there was one case where, I forget what the number of buffalo was, 12 out of 12 died
13
or something?
13 out of 13, right. Good memory. And it was I visited this village in Andhra Pradesh near Warangal, and they said they allowed their buffalo to graze on cotton plants for years, 7 or 8 years, without a problem. But they allowed their buffalo to graze on BT cotton plants for a single day.
One day? And they killed them all.
One day. Now, as I traveled around India earlier this year, everywhere I was speaking where there was cotton growing, I would ask people, have you noticed any problems personally with rashes or allergic reactions? Like with these particular owners of the buffalo and their neighbors, I asked them to raise their hand if they personally experienced allergic reactions, and most of them raised their hands.
Yeah.
A lot of women don't like to talk about their symptoms, and so they don't come forward, but when I ask a group, some quietly, demurely raise their hand. So basically everywhere that cotton is grown. I talked to this one cotton farmer. He's still using BT cotton, and he's describing the yields and all that, and he's basically done giving me all there is to know about the BT cotton. And then I ask him, have you noticed that anyone's getting allergic reactions? He says, oh yeah. So he didn't volunteer it yet. It was just something he was aware of. So now we see numerous children who are dying in the field. Now, it could be snake bites. It could be, we understand that some of these kids are pulled away and kidnapped and forced there, so they could be the victims of sexual crimes. We don't know. But when I hear that this child died from congestion and respiratory problems in a BT cotton field, I get the shit, the red light, the goosebumps. It's all there. It's absolutely all there.
Of course. Yeah. How much of India now is using BT cotton? What's the penetration?
It's,
do we know?
I think I forgot it. It's quite high, but I actually don't remember the number.
It was
I
half?
knew it a few months ago. I don't think it's that high, but
it's growing.
It's growing.
They're pressuring these people, and they're using all kinds of chicanery on them.
Oh, it's horrible. In fact, in some regions, you cannot buy seeds that are not genetically